Hello, everyone. It is Friday, the 22nd of March, 2024, also known as Skull and Bones Day to some people, being that it's the 22nd of March. And Skull and Bones, it's a cult group or a fraternity, I don't even care what you call it, that a bunch of people are involved in. And some of them just so happen to be weird fucking drug addict pedophiles. All right, that's destroying the world. And so let's see if on this day or today, they're going to do more weird, perverted, disgusting things because they're bored and evil and have no actual real lives and are not moral, ethical human beings. Anyway, not all. The majority of them, I'm sure, are great. Not all. Skull and Bones, secret society of senior fourth-year undergraduate students at Yale University, New Haven, Connecticut. It was founded in 1832. Male society member. So again, this is a male-only group, man-only, and men being more focused on things, behaviorally speaking, and women more focused on people, generally speaking. And so, of course, when you have people, running us into the ground that don't care about us, maybe get a second opinion from someone that does care more about humanity. I don't know, like maybe add more women in the mix, right? Like I know that the boys club, where you guys can fuck little girls and fuck little kids and fuck little boys and do all your drugs and stuff like that. Like maybe your wives, maybe your girlfriends, maybe your mothers, maybe your grandmothers don't like it. Maybe the aunts, maybe your aunties think it's disgusting. Okay. Because it is. Shocker. Because it is. All right. And the world is just so disgusting right now that, it is what it is. What can you do? Can you even see this? Let me see. Yeah, okay, you can see it good. Bohemian Grove. I'm just going to copy this in. Show this to people already. But just got to wait for it to load. Bohemian Grove, Monterey, California, US. Restricted 2,700. I've said that before with the 27 being used with a 0, 2701, or 1,100. I think that's probably hectares or something like that. And even with the 20601, you can even add like 6 plus 1 is 7. So you've got the 27. Anyway, there's also, men that attend this for a couple of weeks every single year. Here's the coordinates. I look at everything. Annual attendance, approximately 2,500. It's a lot of celebrities. What people consider to be celebrities, people that I don't give a shit about, and a lot of people in my community, the truth seeker community, don't give a shit about, right? Because as a truth seeker, the world is a lot more interesting to discover than watching a Netflix film by shitty actors that probably do a lot of shitty stuff in their personal life. And that's why they're so famous. I'm not talking about the average celebrity or average actor here again. I'm talking about the ones at the high end level, right? These people are initiated. These people are part of groups and they go to these Bohemian Grove or, other Davos or other events, celebrations, parties, even like all over the friggin' world. And they discuss their plans of actions to shit on and exploit the majority of humans. And it's really frustrating. It honestly really is, because veterans are not getting support, because Veterans Affairs Canada is still hiring people that are seeing themselves as victims and social justice warriors and stuff like that, and taking their positions as Veterans Affairs employees and actually targeting and or not assisting veterans who they deem to be not aligned with what they believe in, right? And so it's really frustrating that I even showed with the Bank of Canada, that guy in his like 20s or early 30s that looked like a soy boy, again, a soy boy, but like working in a city, obviously in a Bank of Canada employee. And he, with the FBI, he was detained at and this is a Saskatchewan boy, right? So if you think it's not even more perverted in the major cities right now with these young kids coming in and the sexual perversions because of again, it's been groomed. They've been overly sexualized. Disney and Netflix and education systems and all this other stuff, and even our leaders, right? They're over sexualizing and making people more deviant, sexually deviant, especially. And it's so anyways, these people that are calling people about insurance in rural areas, right? They're like, oh, that person has a fireplace. Oh, canceling insurance, even though like, again, you're a city dweller. And it's like, and you can't even explain like, hey, like I've had house insurance for over 20 years. You know what I mean? I've been a respectable person of service to Canada, all of this stuff. And then, you can even say something like I have a family. And guess what? If that young guy, 20 years old, 21 years old, 22 years old, 23 years old, 24 years old, 25 years old, 26 years old, 27 years old, 28 years old, 29 years old, 30 years old, 40 years old, 50 years old, 60 years old, 70 years old, 80 years old, 90 years old, 100 years old, 200 years old, 300 years old, 400 years old, 500 years old, 600 years old, 700 years old, 800 years old, 900 years old, 1000 years old, 2000 years old, 3000 years old, 4000 years old, 5000 years old, 60 years old, 70 years old, 80 years old, 90 years old, 100 years old, 200 years old, 300 years old, 400 years old, 500 years old, 600 ye who gets off on little babies getting raped and tortured and screaming and begging for it to stop. Those guys aren't hearing your pleas. And again, this is all on the record. I already showed that. Like, he was the thumbnail. The guy is even on my thumbnail for one of my videos from last week. But he was charged because like he had videos, pornographic videos of infants who were getting tortured, raped by old ass fucking men. And that's what they get off to. Okay. And so like when you're telling them, look, you know, I have a family, I have kids, I'm going to be homeless, or I'm a veteran, or ever, or whatever like that. And these people actually hate these fucking people. You think that they're getting off on like your children, like possibly being homeless and stuff like that, or like being sexualized because you have to move to like a more dangerous area, you know, that you can afford all this stuff. Like they get off on this stuff. And so, yeah, seriously, 100%. I would rather meet Jaron or Witsit or Mark in person, Eric, Dave, both Daves, Dave Weiss and Sovereign Soul and Chain. Fuck, I feel so bad. I feel really bad. Oh my God. So like I was actually supposed to be debating or on his show at 9:35 last night Eastern Standard Time. And because I had been up by like 4 a.m. yesterday morning, maybe even before that, but like I didn't really sleep because I've been going through so much shit that I've been so stressed out. And so I set my alarm because I'm like, I need a nap or something like that, like at least like a half an hour like before I get on. And I set my alarm. I set my alarm. And I don't know if I just didn't like scroll over to turn it on. You know what I mean? I set it because like even when I looked at it, I'm like, I set it, but like did I turn it on? Because I have zero recollection of shutting it off. And it was right beside me on the bed. I wanted to make sure that I just like did a 30-minute nap, and I friggin' slept through. So I only got up at like 10:30 last night, and I was mortified. I was just like, oh my God. You know when you like miss the school bus feeling, you know, when you're a kid, or like miss a friggin' like, you know, like you're late for work or whatever, and it's like a meeting, like a big friggin' meeting. Like that's like the level of stress like that. I like a sinking feeling, and I was just like, oh my God. And then I was like looking on to see if he was still on, and it was just I feel so bad. I'm not, and especially because I'm an infantry officer, retired veteran, whatever you want to call it. I'm the type of person that I'm like early or late, right? Like at least 15 minutes early, at least, so you can like map out the area, like do your recce. You know, anything can happen. You know, maybe you know what? Maybe there's some kind of like electromagnetic pulses that are happening, you know, that are like messing with people's alarms. I'm just kidding. That would be funny though. That would actually be, I'm sure they can do it because they can do the alerts, like the emergency alerts. They always do, you know, on the phones. So like, I wouldn't put that against them. I'm sorry. I keep on putting my cat down, but she keeps on getting back up. She's not taking no for an answer. So it doesn't matter. I hope she's not distracting people. I got to brush her hair again. I want to talk about science and stuff like that before I get into the climate stuff. But, oh yeah, and I'm talking to this journalist again regarding like little stuff to start. I don't want to scare him off. Like I don't want to talk to him about flat Earth yet, because even this morning he's talking to me about like potential oil on other planets. Because I sent the video with Fletcher Prouty, where he's talking about, you know, oil is not a fossil fuel. It's like an 8-minute long video. I've shared it countless times on here. I could share it again if people haven't seen it, but it just, again, being like the second most abundant fluid on Earth, and drilled even like beyond 30,000 feet and stuff like that. Not a fossil fuel, and possibly trees like being the main contributors of this fluid being created, and anyways, like even in science books and textbooks and all that stuff, we're being lied to, and they've all been changed. So like this was like in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. Again, like there was such a huge psyops around that time, and people have no understanding about like how big it is, and how before that period of time we actually were not lied to as much as we think we were, even about the shape of the Earth and things like that. These are people that introduced characters that they lied about and saying that they were, you know, real people, right? But like prove it, right? Pythagoras, Copernicus, and all these people that like, again, like ironically have like the same kind of like backstory as countless other people throughout history from other places, and all leading to either the same misinformation or subtle hidden some symbology representing the actual reality of the world while they're hiding things. But okay, good. Okay. Oh God. Okay, good. I just gotta say that. No, nothing moved. that it was different. So like what I was gonna do with Dave last night, it was on his channel, and we were just gonna talk for about anything, right? There was no debate because I don't know if he had glow birthers on or not. I'm still gonna look at the video, but because I still don't know like how that stuff all works. But on the 26th, I'm gonna be speaking with Dave. Like we're gonna be partners in crime, or not in crime, to call out the crimes of FTFE, Craig, and that other guy I've never even heard of again. I've never heard of, but it's Ozium or Os something. I should get it right. I posted it, so actually, no, I can show you. Someone made up a cool photo. I can talk about that first. I'll scroll up. So here it is. Okay, so it is. We get 45 minutes each. It's Ozian. Ozian Matters Now, and then Craig FTFE, and then myself and Dave Sovereign Soul, The Shape of the Earth. And yeah, I'm excited about that. Well, I mean, I'm excited. I know that all that's going to happen is not by that other guy, because I don't know his work yet, so I can't allude to it or make comments. But Craig, like all he's going to do is insult, right? He's going to take his 22 and a half minutes or whatever he's going to be allocated, or maybe he'll take the whole 45 and he'll just be like, you guys don't know how stupid you are and how incredulous you are, and I can't even believe that you don't even know that. La, 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 la. And it's like, bro, first of all, like you haven't even fucking proven a curve yet, right? So like, let's start with ground zero, okay? The fact that there's no geographical physical fucking horizon. So, and you need that to have your alleged globe. So let's start with that. Let's continue to start with that because it's a very important point that you guys keep on trying to, ignore, explain away, just like other religious people do when they try to like talk about God. When what people are saying, just to be clear, it's subjective reality that you're discussing, not objective reality. There's no measurable, observable, repeatable data, to extrapolate or consider. And so again, subjective reality, these are not to be used, and I've shared the friggin' like the Google friggin' like not to be used or applied to science, government, business, hospitals, like medicine, like subjective reality, no. And so that's why I friggin' love this post by Dr. Jordan Peterson, because more people need to speak out, right? And it hurts people, right? Getting told that I'm old after over 7 years of someone lying and saying like I wasn't too old. And again, I'm not too old. I'm too old for him. He's in his 30s. He's in his mid 30s and stuff like that. And yeah. And so does it hurt? Yeah, it doesn't hurt because I think I'm too old. I don't think I'm fucking too old for anyone. And again, I'm very immature, so it doesn't really matter either. And I have other qualities, right, that I consider to be significantly more important, even when looking at a partner. Like age, obviously over the age of 30, not obviously, but like that should be clear because of my age and stuff like that. But I mean, over the age of 21, obviously, like I won't be so dramatic, but I'm just saying, just to give you a point. Age shouldn't be like age, again, for a lot of people are a factor, like for Andrew Tate, I'm sure, or for Leonardo DiCaprio, but like these guys aren't like the majority of men, right? So like guys that are trying to like live that lifestyle, like they're getting hurt, they're miserable, they're lonely, they're depressed, and their expectations of reality because of porn and Tinder and video games where they're hypersexualizing women, and they're all young women, or women, you know what I mean? That like again, it's all young women dressed older or older women dressed younger, and all this fetish stuff. And again, this is all also part of the grooming and this whole like pedophilia push, and people not realizing it. That's why I like it when people like Alex Jones say, I like real women. He's like, I like big breasts, I like big asses, I like curves. I don't like them looking like a boy. And again, I'm not hating on that at all. I'm not, but I'm just like, yeah, like that's me. Like like, what the fuck is wrong with having curves and looking like a woman? Like, why do men like to have it? Like, and especially with kids, to me, like, oh, because I have cognitive science, amongst other certifications, but like, I know for a fact, I've studied the brain, that before the age of 25, like our brains are not even fully developed yet, and so why guys like want to like Leonardo DiCaprio want to have 25 and under? I'm like, that makes people like me want to throw up. Right. And again, that's fair that the majority of people within the world want that and love that. And I get it. I'm not retarded, right? Like I know that there's huge appeal to it, obviously like more lust and sexual than anything, but yeah, there are also like, you know, demographics of people that are interested in women. It's smaller and smaller. And it seems that over the age of 30 for a lot of women I know, even women that are gorgeous, right? Like, look at Jennifer Aniston. She's in her 50s, I think. And, you know, I don't even know a lot of 20-year-old men that would like refuse to date her, you know? And yeah, it all, there's so many things you have to look at, right? Lifestyle, health, you know, loyalty, dedication, like things that can be brought into the relationship. So for me, like I'm a great cook. I can bake. I bake bread. I bake brownies. I bake whatever, you know what I mean? I can make stews and turkey dinners and roasts and stuff, you friggin' name it. And loyal and all that other stuff. And that is and because of my age, all of that other stuff is completely not looked at by people like Leonardo DiCaprio and Andrew Tate. What are we going to talk about though? So again, like sex is like such a small part of a relationship. I'm talking about like the amount of time allocated towards it, I guess, depending on the relationship. But there's also other things that you should want to do, right? Like communication on various different topics, like grow, develop, learn from each other, be each other's fire team partners, support each other, all of that stuff. And men offering like the protection piece, like that, like the provider piece, that for women is huge, you know. And even things like taking out the garbage, like subliminally, like that, like to women is like that, like that we feel more protected and all that other stuff. And I don't know where I'm going on these tangents. Anyway, the UK has banned puberty blockers for minors. That's a good thing, but there's some people in Canada that wouldn't think that's a good thing because they're fucking psychos. And again, these people shouldn't be in positions where they're making decisions based on subjective reality. Go away. 2 weeks or so after Daniel Smith did the same in Alberta and the Liberal Party screeched up a harpy storm, you are all complicit in the butchery and sterilization of children. This is a crime against humanity and it's on you. Like, he's not wrong. And this all happened like pre-World War I and World War II as well, where there were trans clinics popping up all over the place in Germany and Europe. Actually, in Germany, I think they were one of the first people to like to put up those, one of the first clinics again. And I'm getting marriage proposals. So I'm assuming you're. I'm see, I don't even know like the sexes of people on here. I think you are a man because I think you were saying you had a ginger beard. This is but a flesh wound, you know, and I just got to show you what this is for anyone that's wondering why people are appalled at this. So Dr. Jordan Peterson, I don't agree with everything that he necessarily says, but I will absolutely say that I have his books. I have watched hundreds of hours of his interviews, maybe even thousands at this point. And he's very articulate. He's very smart. He does seem like he's coming from a good place. And a lot of things he says, you know, like does, you know, elicit critical thinking and all that other stuff. So, and he's a clinical psychologist, I believe, as well. Not that it like matters. Again, it's more of like how, I mean, that should matter as well. But experience and reputation should also be important. I'm a psychologist, despite the best efforts of your ideological allies. I told your idiot senators in 2016 that your idiot virtue signaling bill C-16 would cause a psychogenic epidemic among young women. And so C-16, I've shared the videos even in, so 2016, like he was in cabinet, he was speaking, he had lawyers on his side as well. And that's where I first became familiar with Dr. Jordan Peterson, listening to that. And I was like, he's fucking right. Like, who is this guy? He's incredible. And started looking more into his work and stuff that he had already started. Anyway, guess what happened? Now I'm telling you something else. The Brits have woken up and banned puberty blockers for kids, as they should have. But the butchers are still operating in Canada. Every day this continues is on you. You're culpable in child mutilation and sterilization. If it was up to me, you'd be tried for it, along with all other butchers and enablers. You and your toxic compassion, for shame, Canada. And then he gives like publications on stuff. He's not wrong, and especially for children. I don't give a shit what you do over the age of 18 or 21 or whatever the fuck it is. I would encourage you to wait till after the age of 25. But there's rules in place. It says over the age of 18, do whatever the fuck you want. But it's not helping, and people are regretting it. And there are, spikes in suicides in the trans community, like between 5 and 7 years post-op, right? Because within the first couple of years, they're getting attention, right? That's what they really wanted to begin with. Not everyone, but I'm saying there are people that need and want attention or affection or support or love. They're confused, or they're narcissists, or their ego. There's a lot of factors to look at. But grooming and all that other stuff, like, is not exactly the fucking answer. And I really wish that people would fucking start taking a look at the people that they're hiring in positions where we need to have adults and not predators, and actually start firing people. Because like my Veterans Affairs case rep, when I was trying to go through school and stuff like that, and I was going through everything that I was going through, and I was trying to say, like, I can't do my school. You don't understand. I am literally getting harassed every day. They're using vehicles. I've shared the videos. They've tried breaking into my house. I've shared the videos. You've got the police reports. They've tried entering my home, even from the back step. I've shared the boot prints. I'm like, you have all of this. All of this, my electrical outlets, like sparking and stuff like that. Like, and again, I couldn't even fucking concentrate. And even trying to do the online exams, like finals and stuff like that. Like I was getting kicked, bumped out. Like my internet, I literally have emails and phone calls. I was begging Veterans Affairs for help. I'm like, I'll pay for it. I'm like, and so I was having to leave my home. Also, every day with my animals, my dogs, because my dog Smokey especially. And harassing me. And anyway, not to go on too much, but like Veterans Affairs, like the guy that was listening to me, like he didn't give a fuck. He's like, it doesn't sound as bad. It doesn't sound that bad, and all this other stuff. And I'm like, oh, are you exactly like the Veterans Affairs people that I'm showing? You know what I mean? That are like going into areas, safe spaces that they have no fucking business being in. Specific people, predators, just wanting to look to see if they can get fucked by guys that they dream about fucking. You know what I mean? And you don't understand how bad I've had it. You're telling me that you're hired to be a Veterans Affairs rep to help wounded veterans and soldiers, and you're going to either try to fuck them, and if they don't want to, you're going to be like bigots, and like, and I'm not approving you for anything, and you're, I'm not supporting you. Like, this is what I mean. These people have the power in their hands. These people that are in the bank systems and stuff like that, not the bankers and the tellers. I'm talking about the people in the side offices or the fucking like affiliated companies working with them, where they're hiring fucking woke people that, like that are supposed to be approving our home insurance. And then we've got Justin Trudeau and Stephen Guilbeault talking about how bad fucking fireplaces are. So these people are just like, fireplaces are so bad. I'm just going to stay in my little city, fucking little high-rise apartment, and I'm just going to like turn on the fucking temperature a little bit. Cool. Those rural people and farmers, they're just so fucking awful and ugly and disgusting and gross. They're just causing so much pollution. And then they jack off to Stephen Guilbeault. And it's like, what the fuck? You're all fucking idiots, first of all. And, that's all I got. You're all fucking idiots. And you're gross, Not all. I will say, like, I love my mortgage specialist. And there are people that work at RBC that that are great. And even when I was taking cash out during the time that they were trying to, like, cancel all that cash stuff and, like, putting people on lists. I was on a list for that too. Anything over $5,000, I knew my name was going to be on a fucking list. And I was doing it around the fucking Freedom Convoy time too. So like, I'm probably going to get fucking arrested. And what happened? I got a lot of fucking people, like, it was terrifying me during that time. And my friend Helen, who was a cop, literally did get fucking charged and suspended during that Freedom Convoy weekend and stuff like that. And it's all over, entitled, woke, left and right woke I'm talking about, right? Like all part of the same fucking bird. And fucking over good, decent human beings because of how we live. All right. So where's the tolerance in that? I'm talking about in rural areas, like more like traditional areas, like not this. Anyway.
To sexualize our kids. Like, what is this exactly?
This is a near planetary scale psychological operation.
And so a kid, by the way, because between the ages of 5, I'll say 3 and 7, like 5 average, at the age of 5, developmentally speaking, like the neurons are growing at such at a larger rate, at a faster and higher rate than any other period throughout our developmental period. And so when you're being exposed to things like this is their introduction to reality. And so when you're showing them subjective realities that are confusing, when humans and all species, we categorize our environment as well. And we classify and categorize, like I said, like this is all shit that is literally fucking up our kids and ultimately our lives.
And to usher in a new form of communism. And I know to some people that might sound extreme, but you know, to give a little insight, my family came from Cuba, where communism happened in a flash. And I don't think a lot of Americans realize just how quickly this can happen. And we're well down the path. I would call it probable at this point. And we're fighting as hard as we can to make sure that it doesn't happen. But when the opposition party, that is, you know, the quote ruling class, owns every cultural institution, and, you know, you've essentially got children locked into their indoctrination centers for more time than they spend with their parents or their religious leaders, the outcome is truly horrific. The reason for all of this is to usher in a new form of communism, one that is even less honest than the communism of the past, which is saying something, since communists have always been disgusting liars. This is much worse because they won't even tell you the truth about what it is.
I thought that was
What's your
pretty,
top line conclusion about the?
you know. So we have people within cabinet and within Senate that are destroying our lives. And because of that, we have people that are part of the left and right woke group, very intolerant of people. Again, I've been dealing with this shit since that, like before the pandemic. But like, again, the pandemic ruined my life, canceled out my contracts were all canceled on me. Even people that I was working with, again, I'm 22 years in this industry, like a service to Canada at home and internationally, people stealing my content, pretending it was theirs throughout as well, not getting hired for stuff, getting threatened, getting targeted, getting harassed, getting I couldn't even travel for over 2 years either, like even to see my own family. And I had no family in Ontario or this area. Why? Because I moved here for work to be of service to Canada. And so then throughout this time too, people like fucking with my life because of what Justin Trudeau, Marco Mendicino, and all these other fucking loser liars we're pushing and still are. Chrystia Freeland, they're literally the ones that are causing and creating the most hate, and they're the ones that are guilty of hate speech, and they're guilty of hate speech and of killing people, and I wish that was more aware. You know what? I've actually heard about the adrenochrome and the blood drinking, and actually saying that I'm never going to be monetized on YouTube. I don't even care. Half my videos don't even make it on YouTube for long. Yeah. So you've got that as well. And that's a bigger business now too. So there's people that are born in concentration camps, prisons, camps, whatever you want to call it, and they are also being harvested for their organs and for sex, for experiments, for blood. Especially now, a lot more people are vaccinated. They don't want that blood. I'm not saying that. That's fucking other people saying it. I'm just shutting this down. Since we're talking about celebrities, I just shared this too. Emma Stone.
For her lead role in the movie Poor Things.
She's also hot, and she's definitely crazy.
This is a movie about a little baby who gets put basically inside the body of a grown woman and then prostitutes herself. So it's a movie about babies being prostituted effectively. That's what the Oscars are so excited about. It got all of these nominations, and then Emma Stone wins Best Actress. There's also a scene in this movie when it was filmed and played at film festivals that depicted a father bringing his 2 young boys to a brothel to watch him have intercourse with the baby in the grown woman's body. And again, why is everyone clapping for it at the Oscars? In addition, that was so sad about this is Emma Stone's winning Best Actress. She's looking so cute. She's a very talented actress. And she's thanking her husband and her 3-year-old daughter for their support in her playing a role objectifying little babies sexually in a film. We have gotten so disconnected from reality and morality in the world of entertainment and art, where anything goes. And it's no surprise that there's all of these conspiracy theories about Hollywood and pedophilia and child exploitation, because it's right in your face. And we're expected to just say, oh, it's not a big deal, it's just art. No, this isn't art. This is child sexual assault material, and it needs to stop.
If this doesn't signal to you,
that's not art. That's grooming, Emma. You're a fucking groomer, and you might even be a pedophile. I would never trust you anywhere near my fucking family alone. And if you tried to touch one of my fucking nieces and nephews, violence is not the answer. but I might slap your fucking hands away. I definitely would. So this came out yesterday. This is actually pretty huge. And so I shared it at 12:20. I didn't actually mean to. I don't mean to intentionally do that. I like things to just be organic. Like I think that the more you control things, the more it gets out of control. Anyway, order paper questions. Government health authorities influence Gruce. So reference Helen Gruce. Investigation into sudden infant deaths. MP Kathy Wagenthal demands communications mentioning Deputy Chief Stephen Bell. By the way, it was Chief Slowly who was originally the chief of police in Ottawa at the time, and it was Chief Stephen Bell who took over and still pushed the fucking woke narrative and lying to us and cover-ups and all that other stuff after Chief Slowly, because of course they had to have another fucking sheep puppet in place. And he's not liked by a lot of people within either, right? So again, like I have people like Helen Gruce and other people I can't name that work even in the same fucking precinct as many of these people, and they are have a career of not being good people. Anyway, or being like just average. And now sellouts. Anyway, the case of Ottawa Police Detective Helen Gruce and her investigation into a cluster of sudden infant deaths in the Ottawa area is being raised in Canada's Parliament. According to the rules, the government must now provide a written answer within 45 days. That's what the important thing is here. Is they have 45 days to finally fucking respond. And this was literally just on the 14th of March filed. And I'm just going to put the article up. And it's Donald Best that's put it out there. And he's also been fucked over by cops, like because of speaking out like about the truth. And also someone that believes that Bill Blair needs jail and he's a predator. So that's not my words. You know, there's a lot of proof that backs that up anyway. So it's not like if a cop wants to come to my house, like, oh, are you talking about Bill Blair being a criminal? I'll be like, yes, thank you for finally fucking showing up. Now, do you have a fucking USB stick, or is there a fucking email address that you can provide with me? And I will give you I'll give you all the fucking video evidence and proof and photos that you should already fucking have because you're a cop. Like, you know? Oh, so order paper and notice paper. So this was yesterday. Order number 293, Thursday, March 21st, 2024. She's the one that put it through. She's from CPC. That's Conservative Party. And it doesn't matter. I don't give a shit what party you're from. If you're going to share the truth and expose stuff, that's all I care about. Yeah, so I've been talking about this for years. It only took, I don't know, over 2 years to over 2 years of people like me consistently pushing this out there on a regular basis. And she's still getting fucked over. So her next court date is on the 25th of this month. And it's to remove a prosecutor who is a dumb bitch. And I don't care to say that. Law enforcement dumb bitch. Another Karen. One of the types that, you know, like there was another girl that got arrested, or not arrested. She's probably was suspended with pay for a week. But there was a cop woman here who actually threatened and intimidated her ex-boyfriend's new girlfriend. They had been together, I guess, for a long time and stuff like that. And this psycho bitch literally went into this guy's fucking home with his new girlfriend and like with her hand on her gun and all that, all this stuff, and being fucking crazy and like literally going all through the fucking house. And so like, this is what I mean. Like, we need more training. They need better training, more training. And we need to have the woke crew fired because they're fucking parasites. Okay. They have infected Ottawa, especially. Okay. Infected. And people like fucking Helen Gruce, okay, I hope that she becomes the prime minister after this, you know, or fucking deputy prime minister. I hope she's the one that fucking gets to, like, oh my God, if she was able to put the handcuffs on Bill Blair or put the handcuffs on Bell or Peter Slowly, put the fucking handcuffs on Justin Trudeau or Chrystia Freeland, I would pay a lot of money to see that streamed. I would actually pay a lot of fucking money to see that streamed. Like I don't have a lot of money. I would probably fucking like, you know, thousands of dollars to watch that. And the more important thing about this as well is because she was sharing medical, scientific, and government data that would have full stop dropped and ended the fucking mandates and the therapeutic being pushed on us, and more importantly on children, right? Because that's what we were trying for, to get it to be not forced on children because of all the adverse events, right? Just, or even to just fucking hold it, put it on pause, do more studies, do more tests, not inoculate 100% of the population, all of this stuff. We were the common sense ones. And we were getting, again, like, she's over $100,000 in court fees, still in the courts. It's been years. I have my own court shit that I've had to fucking deal with, and thousands of dollars of my own fucking money. And again, like, literally over literal make-believe, again, subjective fucking false lies, all of that shit, which is infuriating. And again, even cops coming to my house from Huntmar to intimidate and scare me in the middle of the fucking night as a combat veteran, knowing that guys had around that same time tried breaking into my fucking home, circled my block. I had a stalker, for a veteran stalker, special forces guy that was fucking crazy that I had to put a 9-page criminal report out on. Okay. And he was still contacting me and my friends and stuff like that, even a year after he was put on notice not to fucking communicate with me anymore. All this fucking stuff. And were they helping? No. And I asked for a restraining order. No, because he doesn't live with you. I'm like, he's a fucking ex-special forces assaulter, huge fucking, and has weapons and all of this fucking stuff. And like, and their response to me was I should move, which I was trying to do. And then look what happened with that for anyone that's been following my fucking channel. Venting. So carbon tax, carbon scams and stuff like that. Look at Fletcher Prouty's work in my older videos about, like, even with carbon within the environment, we need carbon within the environment. Like, and we need people on the land in order to till and graze and manage this fucking grass solar panel. Okay, the soil and all that, the solar panel, and not let it get overrun and stuff like that. And so you need people to do that. And so these city dwelling, and again, there's people in the city that I love, and I've lived in the cities, I've lived in the suburbs, I've already said that. And the majority of people in the cities are actually good people too. Literally, I'm like, no joke. But there's like a small percentage of the population that have jobs that are important, and they're in those jobs being predators. Okay, you could be a fucking 25-year-old guy that like is 4'3", you know, and look all innocent, and you could be one of the biggest fucking predators out there. Like, people don't understand that, you know, it's like the enemy at the gate is not always what you expect him to look like or her to look like. It's always going to be who you don't think, right? Infantry officer, veteran here. With the Patricia, so the best regiment in the fucking world. Like, I'm offering my 2 cents on that. Transport Canada. Oh yeah, and with the arson and with directed energy weapons that are actually causing huge fires in Canada. This is also a reason why they're now like declining insurance for anyone that has a fireplace. Again, the majority of Canadian homes have fireplaces, and even if they don't use them, they still have fireplaces. Like, that's how the houses should be built in Canada, for a secondary fuel source, especially because we live in adverse regions, like climate conditions regions, and our winters are very cold. And so if the electricity goes out, which has been going more out, then you need to have a backup. And so this is also things that they're doing that are actually non-fucking sensical, and they're actually risking our lives by doing this stuff as well. So we have little men, the Bank of Canada guy, actually, I'll show you his fucking picture, and Karens like Chrystia Freeland, who ain't shit. and they're the ones that are ruining the lives of grown-ass men, generations of farmland in their families and stuff like that. And they're like, carbon tax increase, all of this. We're not improving you for insurance because you have a fireplace. And I know you've had the fireplace running for the last 40 years and stuff like that, but I don't like it. You're offensive. Where is this fucking pedophile? And not even just a pedophile, like, disgusting enough, but actually this guy was getting off on videos of actual torture of infants, screaming and crying and all of that other stuff. So when you're saying, I have a family, you know what I mean? And like we need to have this home to survive in the farm. Like, we're providing, you know, food for like countless people. He's like, I don't care. Can I fuck your kids instead? How old are they? Oh, they're over age of 5. Ew, gross. That's way too old for me. Way too old. Ew. What does your mom do? How come it's not letting me fucking share? Hey, let me share. I know it is. I have said this for the last few years as well. Like, I am the most censored person in Canada. Even my Rumble videos are censored. There we go. Now it's finally up. Can you see this guy? Yeah, this fucking guy here. I'm sorry, veteran. I'm sorry, cop. I'm sorry, firefighter. Are you living do you have a fireplace at your house? Is it, and it's to code and it's certified? Ew, still gross. Denied. Oh, does it mean that you might be homeless because like you need house insurance in order to have a mortgage? Just part of the conditions. Oh, well, how long have you had a house for? Oh, that must be nice. I don't have a house. I rent, so I don't care. Oh, that's your problem. But dummy, you need us, I will reiterate, to manage the fucking land. Okay. And I'm not gonna risk my life and freeze to death in the fucking winter when I have a wet certified or soon to be wet certified fucking fireplace. All I needed was like a mat in the front. This is what I was saying. Like my home insurance being canceled because of a fireplace. I'm like, it can easily be wet certified. I already said that. Okay. I haven't even been here for for a year. Relax your fucking tits. What did I do? I called the same company that did my chimney sweep. The guy that's wet certified that said it was an amazing fucking fireplace. He's like, yeah, this is like no issues at all. So all I had to do was call, say, hey, can you do the certification? Oh yeah. Can you send me some photos? Yeah, I remember the place, no issues. And then and he's gonna be coming this week or next week as soon as he gets that fireproof. It's a mat, and it's a new thing that just fucking came out with insurance companies that you need to have a mat in front of your fucking stove, a fireproof one just in case of the embers. I'm like, well, thank you, fucking dumbasses, but I also don't need a warning label on my fucking coffee. You know, that it's too hot. I'm not out drinking fucking, I don't know, like fucking gas. I'm not hucking fucking paint either, you dummies. Like, you don't need to tell me these things. I know how to, when I was a fucking kid, okay, 8, 9, whatever years old, like my stepfather, he did long haul trucking and short haul trucking, mostly long haul at the time, but he was also a fisherman for whatever it is, like 10 weeks out of the year, 8 weeks out of the year, you know, around the summer months. And doing that, and you have to be up super early. And so I would manage the fires in the middle of the fucking night as a kid, like 8, 9 years old, like put some like because he was the provider for the house, right? And so like it was very important that he's up and that he's out the friggin' door to get the food and the money. And yeah, and that's just life for people. Like, and so like at a fucking young age, I was staying up in the middle of the fucking night, managing fires at 8 or 9 years old. Do you think I can't do that in my 40s with like way more experience with fucking, like my cabin in Gaspé has a fucking wood stove. And when I was there, you know, there were some things that needed to be like adjusted and fixed and stuff like that. And I did it alone. Like an adult. Like, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with people. Because I want to talk about flat earth now. But not too much, because I want to save some of it for the debate with Craig and whatever that other guy's name is. And when they and they obviously, people that do research on other people's work, they try to spin things. But I would like to share this. Degree versus radiant, origins of the sine wave, because I talk about sine waves a lot, and sinusoidal waves and cycloids and the sun's path above us within the firmament, and how it's a circular path, but it can be mapped out on a graph like this. And sine waves and sine waves are what create this cosmos, light and motion, whatever you want to call it. We are humans, hue as in colors and shades, whatever you want to call it. And this is a universe, so tones and colors and stuff like that. And anyway, I think that the root of the world is, the root in discovering the reality of the world is also in this. And there are people like Craig that are alleging that there would be different calculations or mathematical results within trigonometry or within astronomical mathematics or whatever you want to call it, these calculations that are created. And there are times when, whether this be a globe, a sphere, or a like a flat plane of inertia, the same measurements and distances like would apply. All right, and so like people are trying to say that this is a globe because because of these calculations that are being used. And I'm like, well, that's fine. You can use those calculations and those funny like symbols and all that other shit. You know what I mean? But I can come up with a much easier way to come up with the exact same calculations, and I don't need to consider arcs or curves.
Let's take a breather and deviate for a while. let's talk about the draconian way of measuring rotation that we've studied all our lives and continue to use so far in this course: the degree. We all know that a circle is 360 degrees. 360 seems like such an arbitrary number. It must come from somewhere, must mean something, right?
I am getting on debatism on the 26th. It's going to be at 6 p.m. I think it's 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I didn't check, but 6 p.m., whatever time Jaron usually does those. And it's going to be me, Craig. I'm literally doing, like I didn't lie. Like I said, like I don't want to debate Craig because he's just going to be insulting me the entire time. And I know I've seen videos from even 4 years ago where even Austin like destroyed him on a debate, like and countless others. And like they're still coming. So like, again, like I know he's only doing that to get money. And his audience are people that, you know, watch people get insulted, like the slap fucking happy people as well. So like all I know is that it's just going to be a series of Dave and I giving objective facts and science, and then theories too, right? That can't be proven either way on both sides, because we just don't have the capacity or the capability to prove these things, because we just don't have access to these areas, is what I'm talking about as well, to do measurements or observations and stuff like that. So and then that'll be followed by, you know, Craig doing things like rolling his eyes and huffing and puffing and complaining and, you know, having like a tantrum. And my goal is to remain calm and not bite or get upset at any insults thrown my way, and just focus on the facts.
I honestly have no idea where that number comes from. There are a couple of theories linking the historical understanding that a year was 360 days in length, and other accounts which link to civilizations having a base 60 number system. But there is a more scientific, more grounded, more universal measure of an angle: the radian. I want to convince you to start using it because everybody else is. All trigonometric functions, when writing a sine function in a programming language, for instance, or when typing the sine function on a scientific calculator, they all expect the angle to be given in radian, not in degree. So what then is a radian, and why is it universal? You can think of a radian as a measure of the length of the circle that an angle represents. Instead of thinking about how many degrees of rotation is needed to go from one point in a circle to another, we think instead about the distance needed to be covered to get to that point along the path of the circle. A radian is basically a measure of the length of the arc that subtends an angle. An angle is said to be 1 radian if it subtends an arc of length equal to the radius of the circle. Alright, but why is it universal? To understand this, we need to talk about pi. Whole books have been dedicated to the study of pi. So, keeping it brief, it's the ratio of the circumference of the circle to its diameter, and it's a universal constant, the golden number of 3.14159 and so on. So if the mathematics of rotation were to refer to this constant, we know that it will be universally valid. The radian angle of a full circle is the length of the full circle, which is just the circumference of the circle. And the circumference of the circle is given by the formula 2 pi r. We know that the radius for a unit circle is 1, so the radian angle of a full circle is 2 pi. Half circle, were previously referred to as 180 degrees, is pi radian.
No way.
Similarly, a quarter circle is pi over 2. So you can see a pattern here. The length of the radian or the radian angle is always expressed as a ratio of pi. An expression which has the value of pi in it should really only be evaluated at the final step of calculating the result. The reason is that the radian is not entirely intuitive in its calculated form. For example, try to visualize a circle whose angle is 1.74 radian. Hard, isn't it? It's hard to even know which quadrant this angle lies in. Is it less than a quarter of a circle? Is it more than half? Well, in the traditional sense, it's 100 degrees. Expressed as a fraction of pi, it's 5 over 9 pi, which is still not overly intuitive, but at least we can picture it in the second quadrant since it's over half the value of pi. To wrap things up, we can look at how many degrees are in 1 radian, and with that, a generalized formula for converting between the two. 360 degrees is 2 pi radian, and by proportional equality, how many degrees is equal to 1 radian? Solving for this equation, we get the value of 1 radian to be approximately 57.29 degrees, and the general formula for converting between the two. In the next video, we'll be resuming the discussion on sine functions, but now as a function of time.
I've got another one I want to show. This is all just trigonometry, trigonomic functions, sine waves, all this stuff. Like this is just because they're getting more into this. So Dave's been talking more about this in Austin, and well, I mean, they've probably been talking about this forever. I haven't seen any of the videos yet on that specifically, and so this is just more of an argument for this being a like a stationary.
Into the world of audio in the digital domain, we need to understand the fundamentals of audio. And the simplest way to talk about a subject is to figure out the elemental parts that make up the subject. For a lot of areas of study, this is fairly hard to do, since the makeup is ambiguous and fairly hard to single out. But in the world of audio, it's unmistakably simple. Simple harmonic motion. The physics behind sound and the generation of simple harmonic motion is described in another module on acoustics, but let's talk instead about the mathematics behind simple harmonic motion, and more specifically, the sine wave. We've all seen the sine wave before, the squiggly, wavy shape that you see in music equalizers. A sine wave is the purest form of audio, which represents an exact frequency or a tonal value. In fact, sine waves don't exist in isolation in nature. No natural source of sound generates a singular sine wave, but rather a multitude of sine waves bundled and added together. More surprisingly, it's possible to recreate any sound, including the sound of my own voice, by just adding different sine waves together. Although this can get expensive and absurdly complicated, and there are different synthesis methods to recreate more complex sounds, which you will be learning about later on. Sine waves can truly be thought of as building blocks of audio, like pieces of Lego. Since sine waves are quite essential to the study of audio, and since digital systems can produce single sine waves, we need to get a good grasp of where the sine wave originates from. And we go back to the humble beginnings of the triangle, and more specifically, the right-angle triangle. We choose the right-angle triangle here since it has a few established properties that we can leverage. So what do we know about the right-angle triangle, apart from the fact that one of its sides is at a 90-degree angle with one of the other? We know that since the sum of all the angles of a triangle is 180 degrees, the sum of the two other angles of the triangle has to be equal to 90 degrees. Here, angle A plus angle B equal to 90. We also know that the Pythagorean theorem is established for right-angle triangles, where it states that the sum of the squares of the sides of a triangle is equal to the square of the hypotenuse. Written out, it's simply x squared plus y squared equal to hypotenuse square. What else do we know? We know that there are certain well-defined but arbitrary ratios that are conjured up for the right-angle triangle. These ratios provide relationships between the sides and angles of a right-angle triangle, and they're called trigonometric ratios or trigonometric functions. There are 6 in all, but 3 of them are more commonly used. That's the sine of an angle A, which is the ratio of the opposite side to the hypotenuse, the cosine function, which is the ratio of the adjacent side to the hypotenuse, and then we have the tangent function, which is the ratio of the opposite side to the adjacent side. You might have noticed that the sine function is already described here. The end goal of the module is to describe the sine function, but it's not yet in a form that's recognizable or consumable for audio purposes.
Oh, Craig.
So let's push on.
I'm going to be asking you about this too. And I'm going to be asking you about tan for calculating the hypotenuse and stuff like that with the y and the x and the angles that you so love to talk about.
You might wonder at this point of time what the
because like angular view, whatever you want to call it, like again, even with the my way of explaining it, like it might be terrible. I don't give a shit. It's better than like a lot of people I know. And at the end of the day, like the last part I say or try to explain should be more important than like if I mess up
purpose
the
of these trigonometric ratios are. They are just made up fractions, after all, that describe some relationships. However, there are several practical applications to these ratios. Let's take a simple example. Let's say you want to calculate the height of a building or a...
This is what I would have shared, and like this was what I probably will share with Craig. And so this I'm fully admitting that I'm going to likely share, because you can calculate what he's trying to say.
Tree.
Anyway,
one way you could possibly do this is to take a tape measure, climb the tree, and measure how tall it is. A less daft of a person would try to use the power of observational mathematics to do the same. What do we know about the environment? We can position ourselves at a point P in the world, and we can look up at the tree and measure the angle at which we need to tilt in order to observe the tree from our position on the ground. Let's call this angle theta. We can also walk over to the tree and measure the distance of the tree from our...
And yes, Craig and others, it is at ground level where he's talking about P as in the point, but he also explains, okay, all this other magic and wizardry that you guys try to do, like they're explaining it. Like, anyway.
Initial position. What we have here is a rudimentary right angle triangle, where we've determined one of the angles and the length of the adjacent side. The information we're lacking is the length of the hypotenuse, which is quite hard to determine in our case using conventional means, and the length of the opposite side, or the height of the tree, the answer to which we're looking for. All we need to do is leverage one of the trigonometric functions and substitute the values. The tangent function comes to mind. Tan of the angle theta is equal to the opposite side over the adjacent side. Let's put a couple of concrete values here. Say the distance to the tree is 60 meters, and the angle we're observing it at is 60 degrees. If we rearrange the equation, we can easily find the height of the tree if only we knew the tan of the angle of 60. Fortunately, I seem to possess the values of the tan function for a few key angles, and they're tabulated here. That's
universal.
Handy. Tan of 60 degrees.
These are universally accepted. Actual tan theta degree calculation, whatever you want to call it, measured into distances or numbers.
Root of 3.
Measured into numbers.
And root of 3 multiplied by 60 is approximately 104 meters. That's a tall tree. It was quite...
So back
root of 3 multiplied by...
It's like, what else can you friggin' measure?
60 is approximately 104 meters. That's a tall tree. It was quite convenient that we had the tan conversion table. But how did we arrive at those values? Tan of theta is said to be a continuous function over the angle theta. A function in mathematics, or in programming for that matter, is a relationship where you can plug in or substitute any value for the parameter that it operates over, and you get an output in each case. Let's try to find the values of the sine function. For this, we need to simplify the triangle further. Any unknowns we can eliminate, the better.
Well, anyone that's done advanced statistics and stuff like that, like this math is like you have to do it, right? So like this is why I also like to ask people, like, do you actually even have, like I even have the tables and the charts and stuff like that, like where like anyway, these people.
To do this, we turn to circles.
And the only reason why I'm doing this, again, like as a woman, like as a friggin', like I just like the only reason why I'm putting myself out there for these debates is because like people literally, we all have to step up and do more, you know, and I don't want to, but the thing is that people like Craig have like so much money and stuff like that and continuing to lie to people about things that people should not be lying about, right? So if this was anything like irrelevant, like I don't care, you know, but he's lying about the reality of the world, and it's actually what's causing harm and death every fucking day that he continues this up, right? And so it's actually disgusting to me that people like this exist. And these are the people that are the worst of society, like the lowest of the low, lower than fucking and murderers are disgusting. Okay, the people that are actually doing it, but you are the one that are creating the murderers. Okay, you are the one that's fucking psychologically raping people's minds. Children, I take huge offense to that. Go fuck yourself, Craig, again. And the only reason why I'm debating you, even though you're going to insult me, a fucking veteran that's actually been of service to my country and the fucking world, okay? And I have the fucking parts to discuss the reality of the world, even though, by the way, flat earthers are the ones getting killed. I wonder why. Is it globetards? No, it's not. Okay, that should tell you more. Okay, so you little pussy, okay, that can have your fucking talk and insult us, okay? Because again, if you're fucking government or paid by government, and again, I'm government, top secret government clearance. I've been working with and around government for over fucking 22 years of my life. Myself and people like Helen Bruce, we're always going to fucking go against you guys, okay? Whether it be live or in the courts, like she's doing and stuff like that, because you are gross and you are even worse than a civilian doing this, okay? So again, if people are saying that you're possibly paid by government, and that disgusts me, because you're the type of man that I've had to fucking deal with now for years, and it's tiring, it's exhausting, it's expensive.
Unit circles.
And you're lying, and you're scum. So on that note, I wanted to share a video with Dave Weiss too, and just get so fucking fired up, because again, like, people are dying, right? Like, people, we don't take this as seriously as we should sometimes. And again, peaceful, obviously, but sometimes it's just hard. Where is Dave's one? Was it? Oh, it was on Rumble. Okay, so this is DITRH. Oh. And because this is another argument that was brought up like in the last couple of weeks with Craig and these guys. It was posted 2 hours ago. How a 3-foot wave can block a cruise ship from a 6-foot tall man on a flat earth.
Wave block a giant ship from a 6-foot tall man. So here I have a bunch of pencils on the floor. They're going all the way across the room. You'll see them a little better as they go down. And you see the space between them is equal. But as I go down, the spaces get compressed.
Like, I'm not saying that like using this mathematics, you can assess the distance of the luminaries or anything like that. Like, I'm just saying, like, these people are continuously using trigonometry and things like that. Like, for example, with the angler, with angle measurements and stuff like that, because like a lot of people that are flat earthers are not, like really into the weeds on like the specifics of like all the fucking like mathematical calculations and all the other stuff that they're using to, to lie to us about things. And so again, just being more aware of this stuff, I think, and in order to be aware, no, that you're lying, that's not the calculations, or like that's not true, and then you could bring up, like some calculations in order to just, again, like say like you're just using complicated math to deceive us, or you're using complicated algorithms, or you're explaining things in a way that makes no sense. Okay, and it just sounds good. You're convincing people because they have no fucking idea what you're talking about, and then they throw in a like nice little pretty diagram. They're like, here, legit, and then everyone's like, oh, it's like, no, that's not true at all.
Go all the way down. We see basically from here to the bottom of the screen is about the same as all of the other 30 spaces, however many there are, right? They're all getting compressed. Now, if I got another pencil and put it on top of, let's say, the 5th pencil from the end, it would block all of the other pencils. Here we have a 6-foot tall guy. We have a 3-foot wave, and this is his line of sight over the wave to where he can see the water. And there's a small gap in between the wave and where he can see the water. Now, we live on a flat earth. A 6-foot tall man looking down at the water is looking down 6 feet. If he looks down at the water here, he's looking down 6 feet. Out here, it's still 6 feet below his eyes. But the angle changes. So let's watch what happens. We move that wave out and look at the gap between where he can see the water and where the wave is. It gets longer and longer. Look how wide it is now. And it's really wide. He's still looking down. Now, this was an orthographic view. Nobody sees sideways, but this is what's going on. But this is how we really see. And again, here's a orthographic view again. So we got our boat right here. We got our guy right here. We got our wave. He's blocking the bottom of the boat, but he could kind of look over the wave a little bit. And if we put the ship out here, he can still see the whole ship down to the water line. Farther out, he can still see it. He can still see it. He can still see it. Makes perfect sense. So now I move the wave way out here. Now, even though it's smaller, it's still 3 feet above the flat water. And let's take a look. So here's our perspective grid. It gets this amount of information. Let's say this is 1 mile, right? 1 mile, that's a mile, that's a mile, that's a mile. Those miles are getting compressed more and more and more. If I zoom in, each one of these is a mile, and it's getting compressed until they're literally on top of each other. So when a ship is out here, so let's say it takes 10 minutes, 15 minutes to go a mile,
Okay.
right? 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15. Each one of those is 15 minutes. So when it's out this far from your point of view, it's not going to move very far in your visual space. It's still going a mile, a mile, a mile, and a mile, but it's staying relatively.
And that's where it gets complicated, is that they're completely lost in the sauce. They don't care about what reality is. What reality is, they desperately attempt to save their impossible model. And again, it could be that's why, like, I don't want to come in hot. You know, when I do this debate thing, like, I want to be respectful. I always want to be respectful, but I'm French Canadian, and sometimes, you know, it's just like the Latin blood. You know, like sometimes I get angry, and I'm like, no, you're an idiot. I don't want to do that, and I want to stick to, like, no name calling, none of that stuff. Because again, I don't know if he's actually just genuinely someone that just, like, watched a lot of Star Trek and Star Wars and got lost in the weeds, you know, and you know, Buzz Aldrin, you know, he had his poster on his wall and he, like, jerked off to him there, like, every night. Like, I don't know if that's what happened, right? I don't know if he just loves astronauts and loves Mars and you know, and you know, the potential of, like, alien women. I'm just kidding. I know he's married with kids. I'm just kidding. But yeah, so he could be government, because there are people that are being paid by government, including Neil deGrasse Tyson, like I've said, and Bill Nye, the not science guy, and
this is his line of sight. He can't see the water until over here.
That's what I think.
So the ship will just shrink and get smaller and smaller. And because all of that distance is compressed into this small space,
on. Okay, it's back up. I just had to pause it.
On top of that, there's a marine layer. The lower you are to the water, the thicker the air column is. And on certain days, most days, that air column, those few feet above the water, will become opaque over distance. And boats will literally disappear behind that, along with miraging. It's never just one thing, but this is how a 3-foot wave can block a cruise ship. Hey, everybody, Dave here. I got an announcement and a request. Thank you for everybody that supported me and all of the other amazing content creators out there. I really appreciate it. Got some new updates coming on the app. One of them is that the app is going to be available on the Macintosh computer with a Mac version.
Cool.
You'll be able to log in from one device to the other, whether you have Android, Apple, it doesn't matter. But if you have a Mac, you can have it on your Mac. And you can change your login back and forth as needed. Some of the new features we have, one of the new features is we have a featured content creators. There's other content creators on other platforms other than YouTube, TikTok, no matter where they are. If I can find them, I put them here, the little star button. It'll be on all versions of the app. And up comes the list of pages, and each page has a featured video. So in the featured section, we're featuring Let's Get Triggered this week. Awesome channel. If you're looking for new content, come here, check these out.
Nice.
Just getting started. putting people together. Another thing is,
so this app is on phones. I've had it for a couple of years. It's more expensive in Canada because of the exchange rate. So suck it up. It's worth it. And anything to me, like for flat Earth stuff, like I think more money should be thrown at flat Earth stuff. Way more money. I think all the money going to globe stuff, NASA, give that to us, so we can unfuck this. So I'm just showing you. So this app here, again, I'm not paid to say any of this. I have it. I paid for it. But if you click the search thing here, this magnifying glass, there's so many different videos that get pulled up that if you have any questions about anything or people ask you about anything, you can just like click that, like look through and look through whatever you want to look at, and then share if you want to share, but it gives you a lot more information and questions you can ask specifically as well. So you can do a search for keywords like gravity or whatever, and like multiple videos will pop up. And it's very useful.
Most of these pages will,
you know, I can really appreciate really convenient apps like this. Like it's just very useful.
have pop-ups if there's something new. So in the shopping section, oh look, Dave's got a new shirt. How about that? So anything, if all the books, we have featured, old world, novel.
All right. Okay. All right. Sorry, I'm so frustrated with Canada these days, and I hate the fact that it impacts my life so much on a regular basis. Even when I'm literally minding my own fucking business, I'm literally having like people like fucking with my life because I'm on a list. You know, for being a fucking what I thought to be a good person, like I'm on a list because like I donated to a freedom convoy. I am on a list because I live in a log cabin with a fireplace. You know, like are you fucking kidding me, people already? Like I really wish that people made more sense. I really wish that like Stephen Guilbeault and these people finally got fired. They're little children. You know, like they're like, where's your proof of flat Earth? Propagation of electromagnetic fields over flat Earth. Take a look. Joseph R. Melita, 2001, open source. So again, it wasn't even declassified. This is open source. This is how fucking bad people are at their jobs. You can't even look at, like, anyway, I'm not talking about people that are watching this at all. I'm talking about people that are supposed to be analysts and intelligence operators and, you know. So there was that one. Some of them are archived, so you can't even get access to it unless you know how. And these are all, again, this is a lot of friggin' math, all using a flat, stationary Earth. NASA Technical Memorandum 81238. Get all the information you want. Take a look at this yourself. Don't take my word for it. It's NASA. This was unclassified, declassified. Lots of math, lots of technical stuff. Used. The helicopter equation of motion are given in body axis with respect to a flat, non-rotating Earth. So that's just two I can share, and I've shared complete videos of publications from various different government sites and corporations, even ones that were archived, ones that you can't get access to unless you know how to, and connecting from different browsers from different countries, and then going into the Wayback Machine and like anyway, all of that stuff, and getting it because they want to hide it from us, and this is all stuff that we are entitled to know. It's our God-given right, literally, to know. And it's all out there. So the fact that there are still people that are fucking lying to us, really, again, it just fires me up. And so anyway, I can share more. I can share the distance calculations between, like, you know, like the southernmost areas of South America and like Chile, for example, or like Cape Horn, Argentina, Patagonia areas, like the southern areas, and the distance between that and the, I would say, the southernmost regions of Australia, or the northern. Actually, no, I would go with the southern, like Tasmania, and calculate the distances. All right, and then learn the technical data for the aircrafts that are being used, and calculate the average distance that they travel, and then times that however many hours that they are in flights, And you'll see that it does not make sense that they're telling us that it's approximately like 8,000 something kilometers distance. Okay, and when you calculate the flight paths and the average speed of the aircraft, and this is giving it to Globies more, right? Like, so like the average Airbus speed for some of the aircraft, so you can like calculate at like 100,000, sorry, at 1,000 going 1,000 kilometers per hour. And I do calculations for like approximately 900 kilometers per hour. And that gives you approximately 13,500 kilometers of distance traveled, straight line. And that would be, and that's conveniently approximately the diameter of the Earth, allegedly. And so again, like that's also proof that the Earth, at least the circumference or the size, it's at least not much, but it's absolutely larger than that. Because if that distance is approximately the diameter, and we know that you can travel south of South America, and you can travel south of Australia and the Antarctic regions, or the ring areas and stuff like that, what we're calling something else, and we're pretending it's something else, and we're pretending it's shaped like something else as well, right? Like Antarctica is it's not a continent, it's an outer barrier, ice walls that are hundreds of feet in length. And I'm not saying that that's what contains the water in this environment either. I am not saying that. I don't know, because it looks like there might be openings and stuff like that as well within these ice walls that can get you where you can gain access to other areas. And so, but I haven't been, so I don't fucking know. But I'm giving you the calculations and stuff like that. I'm looking at technical data, and giving my assessments based on that. And so anyway, I will leave it at that on that note. It's Friday. I have no plans, no life. Too old. Anyway, I hope that everyone has a wonderful rest of your day.